What a pretty little view we have today. But I've been thinking today. Not well, as anyone does every day. But today I had been watching a podcast of these two well articulated adults, some people who actually got shit going on. And it was I think his name is Jimmy Carr and Chris Wilkes or something. Wilkes? I don't know if you pronounce it like that, but whatever. And they were talking about general like life stuff that goes across the topic of like self-help stuff, along with just general life philosophies and what they think are some problems in the world, and what their take on them was. Along with a few other interesting stuff, I have a few things I wrote down, like the general question of what do you want, of a person asking themselves what do they want, and for such a short question, it has to truly answer it takes a lot of thinking, I think. And I don't know if I have a true answer of what I think about that just yet. I guess a desire to be satisfied and have peace in life, but that's a pretty open-ended answer, So getting down to like the small stuff is a lot harder. I think would give you a better framework on how you want to actually advance in life, and what goals you could have to work towards that. But it gets a bit complicated, along with other stuff like the fact that, like, based on that question, obviously you have desires, right? Things you want out of life. And the fact that a lot of people, including myself obviously, have desires that are written by other people, right? Just general societal desires like material wealth and social status and things like that, along with the idea of self-authored desires, things that you truly want yourself. I don't know if those things could be innate or learned over time, but either or. But along with those ideas comes the things that you should actually do or think you need to do to get them done, right? And how you should orient yourself day to day. And they were talking about how a simple goal like fitness obviously can be extrapolated out to a whole lifetime and a never-ending chase of a goal that you'd like, but that having such a long-term view on those types of goals doesn't really help on the day-to-day kind of things. That it's a lot better or a lot easier to view today as serving yourself tomorrow. Like what would tomorrow you want you to have done today? And I guess that kind of point of view, lends itself to more true productivity and things that you want to accomplish long term, step by step. And I think failing to do that on a consistent basis leads to a lack of self-actualization with your true desires in life. I find it incredibly baffling how stupid I am for all the wisdom that's out there on the internet for free, right? And I guess you have to know which places to look and be willing to absorb that kind of advice. But I find a lot of it goes in one ear and out the other, I'll often find myself thinking about something that, while listening to a podcast, thinking about something that they said and getting wrapped up in my own thoughts about that, and then missing the next thing that they say and the conversation that leads from that, right? But I think that if you're able to internalize at least a little kernel of a philosophy or an idea that gets articulated to you through someone that's lived those kinds of ideas and is more fulfilled in life, well, I can't speak for them, but they seem a little bit happier in what they've been able to accomplish throughout their lives, that you'll be able to at least make a conscious choice to take a small step day by day in a direction that suits you and that you're happy with. And I think it's a lack of activity throughout a day, or sense of purpose or direction, that often leads to anxiety, which is obviously just your brain trying to figure out things that haven't happened yet, right? Either well, it can go in both directions, right? Thinking about the past in a situation that has already happened, that's unchangeable, and trying to learn from that. And then trying to use those solutions in a situation that hasn't happened yet in the future, and worrying if you'll be able to make those changes that you want or react in the way that you desire. And I don't think that helps anybody, really. Well, no. I can say almost for certain it doesn't help anything. It's so strange that my mind is buzzing all the time and constantly running and thinking of this and that, the mundane, along with fabricating situations in my head all the time. And then as soon as I hit record, my mind goes blank. It gets quiet, almost as a way I would think as a way to hide itself from being seen. But I'd like to get better at that. I'd like to be able to articulate myself better and let my true self flow through the person that I act as. Because so often, once I'm put in a social situation, I quickly try to adapt in whatever way I think would be best for that situation, right? Putting on a mask. And sometimes, well, I feel like that mask isn't truly a different character, right? It's not something or someone that's not myself, but it's almost like like neutering myself in a situation to best fit what I think is socially acceptable or wanted of me in that time, or what will make people the happiest, right? And keep myself socially safe and likable. But I don't like that. I want to be able to fully express myself in any situation that I'm in. Appropriately, of course. I'm not gonna be fucking dancing at a funeral. Well, it's not like I'd have any desire to do that anyways if I was at a funeral. But it's so strange that the concept of cringe and being cringe keeps people from being themselves, right? And sticking out of the social norm and fear of being judged by other people. And it's so much easier to point that out and notice it for what it is outside of a situation or when it's somebody other than yourself. But I think ultimately the people who do reach a higher degree of self-actualization, and I find it, I think it happens a lot with more so creative people, right? Because when it comes to things like music or dance or even things like painting, they provide their unique flavor to the world in something that nobody else has expressed like they can. And when you do that, I think you need to cross social barriers that a lot of the time people will call you out for. And you need to be willing to like stand your ground metaphorically and continue being who you are with confidence. But I think I need to put more effort into knowing myself and finding out who I am as of now and who I'd like to be in the future, what things I'd like to change and grow into. There's been so many nights where I'm laying in bed thinking about, oh, tomorrow I'm gonna do this, and it'll be great. And wanting to learn so many different things. Like I've had a desire to learn piano, guitar, drums, things that I find fun, as well as things like improving at the Rubik's Cube. Or improving at things like chess. Or even building something new to solve a problem that I have in life in a unique way that I haven't seen anybody else approach it from, right? An angle that I haven't seen anybody else approach it from. And all those things take follow through. Sadly, they can't be learned in a day, although I wish they could be. And that could definitely be helped with the idea of serving your future self today and what you think you would want to have done in a week's time or a day's time. But even when it goes beyond changing your circumstances from something that you find undesirable today to a position that you think you'll be more happy in the future, I think that comes with its own flaws, right? Because even once you get there, I'd imagine you'd still be unsatisfied with your ultimate goals and wanting to do more, which can be described with things like the hedonic treadmill, that gaining something in life will make you happier for about a week or two, and then you'll go back to baseline and desire more. So I think being happier with where you are today, regardless of your situation, would definitely be helpful, even when it comes to your motivation with things you want to do in the future. And I'd imagine the way that you feel good about your position in life today starts from a place of gratitude and recognizing the things that you should be grateful for, along with the privileges that you have day to day. I know that I practically bathe in privilege every day from what I have and from where I am and what those things afford me. Like the fact of being born where I have been gives me so many privileges out the box. that other people would benefit from greatly. And it's so strange how unequal the world is. You'd imagine I would think that people that are in positions of power would have a greater desire to help those around them. And have greater empathy for other groups of people other than themselves. But I think humans are infinitely fallible in our inability to truly grasp the larger picture of the world, right? They'd much rather help themselves and their own than make strides? Yeah. Then make strides to help other nations that have greater disparity in wealth and well-being. But how could that be changed? I don't think it's impossible. But I don't know if working within the system that we have today would make it so obtainable within a reasonable amount of time. Or I think that the system could possibly run itself into the ground before that ever happens. And before that happens, I want to be able to develop a skill set that allows me to connect better with other people and understand them at a more fundamental level and have greater empathy and allow myself to forgive on a grander scale. Because even the worst people that have ever existed were born as a baby, almost as a blank canvas to the world. And whatever was written upon them caused them to view the world in such a distorted way that allowed for them to commit such great atrocities towards others. Like, it's crazy that even somebody like Hitler truly thought that he was doing something for the greater good, that he was on a path to achieve the Aryan race, a better form of human, and being able to distinguish people from others in buckets of value. And that's such a strange and crazy thing. Being able to justify that to yourself. And then act with conviction upon it. But I think humans are capable of as much good as they are evil, in being able to give others empathy for their positions and making a true effort to help those around them. And I would think that's more possible now than ever due to the interconnectedness of the world with the use of the internet and other social platforms. Although as of now they're causing more harm than good, I think could be reasonably argued, along with or because of the forms that they're set up in and the incentives that people have to train algorithms to keep people simply on their platform longer, on whichever emotion is more convenient and more effective, such as anger, which causes division within people. But a tool is only as good as whoever is wielding it, right? But I think humans often adjust to the way that the world is and come out stronger because of it. With all this social media stuff that's affecting the world in a bigger way now more than ever, only came around about 20 years ago, or maybe 30 at the earliest. So people that have truly stewed in that environment and seen what it causes to their communities will be more willing to take action in changing towards the greater good. But I want to go look at this river really quickly. Whoa. What a nice stream. It's flowing more gently now than in a long time, having got heavy rains. It was flowing like crazy before. And so many people see this and are willing to destroy it to put up a new Walmart. But I think there's hope in the world. Things are so quickly changing all the time. Oh my god. Thank you for listening to my TED Talk.